Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. All right, let's pause there for a real quick second. Okay. Well, Caitlin was Caitlin before going to the W. Caitlin was Caitlin because Caitlin is Caitlin.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothas Podcast. My name is Keenan, and I am solo today, talking the WNBA. We're going to get into all the comments, all the hoopla going on, and we may got a WNBA Finals about to go down with all this chaos going on. Repping the WNBA right now. I talked about the WNBA at the beginning of the playoffs and what the thoughts were, some awards thoughts, and right now we got a lot to get into, and let's just get into it. The woman of the hour, one of the best players in the WNBA, Napheesa Collier, and for those who don't know the W but have heard the comments so far, let me just talk to you a little bit about Napheesa Collier. This was her year this year. 23 points a game. That was second in the league. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.6 steals, 1.5 blocks. She's been a former Defensive Player of the Year. She was in the running this year. Her teammate Alana Smith and A'ja Wilson, co-Defensive Player of the Year, 53, 40, 90. The only other player to do that, Elena Delle Donne, she won the MVP the year she did that. Napheesa came runner-up to A'ja Wilson, the best player in the W. I mean, not much you can do with A'ja. 16-game win streak to end the regular season. Was cooking. 30-20 game for the first time in WNBA history. A lot of what Napheesa did wasn't nullified by A'ja, but her going out with injury, the Lynx were 5-2 during that stretch. I think that hurt a little bit, and also the fact that she missed pretty much a month of basketball, and that was towards the back half of the season, and during that back half is when A'ja Wilson and the Aces didn't know what losing was. These two teams faced. If Napheesa outplays A'ja in that game, breaks the winning streak, I think Napheesa probably wins MVP. But A'ja grossly outplayed her in that specific game. Though they blew them out by 53 earlier, it comes down to A'ja Wilson. That's perfectly fine, understanding she's been a runner-up in MVP before, and she probably will be either a runner-up or an MVP again. She'll get an MVP before her career is over. That is, if the WNBA exists. I'm talking a little tongue-in-cheek here. But her last statement of the year, she sets up a written statement, sits down for about 4.5 minutes. Napheesa Collier, and these comments have been circulating for the last about 72 hours roughly, so we have seen them, but we're going to get into them. This past February, I sat across Engelbert, that's Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA, and asked how to plan to address the officiating issues in our league. Collier said. Her response was, this was Engelbert, well, only losers complain about the refs. That is incorrect. There has been winners that have complained about the refs all year long in the WNBA. If you have not paid attention, Sophie Cunningham has been fined multiple times. Stephanie White has been fined multiple times. There have been multiple coaches and players who have been fined multiple times for their outbursts on the court and off the court, talking about how the refs are. The refs allow they get away with a lot, and it has not the incapabilities of the refs, it's the leadership of the WNBA. Sue Bird and Ryan Ruocco were talking about this, and Sue Bird was talking about how she played in the WNBA for 20 years. She is a Hall of Famer, just has a statue outside of Seattle. Like, Sue Bird's one of the greatest WNBA players to ever play, and she was talking how when she played the Oregon team in 2019, I believe 2019-2020, for the tune-up for the 2021 ended up being because of COVID Olympics, that she had to play by the college rules, and the USA team had to play by the college rules, and it was much different. Paige Beckers famously said before the Indiana Fever game, when her and Caitlin faced off for the first time, and the only time they faced off against each other this year with both of them healthy on the floor, I have to learn how to defend while fouling. While fouling, not without fouling. Obviously, in college, the game is called more clean. Sometimes you wish they'd get away with a little bit more, But at the same time, you also want to allow the players freedom of movement. You want to see those great shots. You don't want to see Steph Curry going around the back and just being held. You want the game to be physical. You want it to be intense. You want that grit. And there's a fine line between that, so sometimes you can go over and under, but this is just taking it too far. I completely agree with Napheesa in watching a lot of games over the last, honestly, 7-8 years. I've had the WNBA League Pass for a while. Watching these games, it's been super physical, and it's always been that way. It's just not people were privy to it all that much because they didn't really watch the WNBA. Caitlin brought the eyes, but you guys are seeing now the Fever and the Aces, most watched series of all time. I know Caitlin, obviously Caitlin's on the bench, but Caitlin wasn't playing. So just shows already the one, had the Fever name and what Caitlin's brought to that, but two, how good the game has been. But only losers complain about the ref. I vehemently disagree with that. I also asked how she plans to fix the fact that players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little in their first 4 years. The salary is under $100,000, roughly around $78,000 as a rookie, and it trickles up over the next 4 years. I mean, I understand that some people have problems when it comes to the salaries of these professional athletes, but if you're going to have a 91% revenue split to the owners and only 9% to the actual players comparatively in the NBA, where it's a 50-50 revenue split, yeah, you're going to see people being upset about that money split, especially when the WNBA players are what's there, not the owners. And in talking about that, her response to that, Cathy Engelbert that is, said, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. All right, let's pause there for a real quick second. Okay. Well, Caitlin was Caitlin before going to the W. Caitlin was Caitlin because Caitlin is Caitlin. She is pulling up from 35 feet in, reminiscent of Steph Curry, arguably the most popular player in all of basketball and has been for the last decade. It's because she is super fun to watch. It's the full court passes. It's the seeing the lanes. It's the step back, going left, fadeaways. It's putting up 44, the you can't see me on Louisville. It's going to put 41 up on South Carolina, or 44 on South Carolina. It's going to play LSU and going to put work in Haley Van Lith again when she's on a new team. Like, we love Caitlin not because of the fact that she is, oh my God, she's in the WNBA. No. If she was just in Unrivaled and played in the Big 3 league where she was offered a bunch of money, you know what people would be doing? Watching Caitlin. And you know what the Big 3 would be getting? A bunch more views. Why? Because it's Caitlin Clark. Cathy Engelbert, please don't make this seem like you made Caitlin. You didn't. Caitlin made Caitlin. Iowa. If you want to, Iowa, she was at Iowa. She decided, hey, I'm not going to go to UConn. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stay home. I'm from Des Moines. I am going to go there. And then I'm going to ball out. And then I'm going to go to Indiana, and I'm going to ball out. That's why Caitlin is Caitlin. Not you. Same conversation said players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deals. I got them. The media rights deals that you got, yeah, it's a good deal. It is a very good deal. It's a very lucrative deal. It's unfortunate that they only get 9% of the whole split of all the league revenue because it could be a lucrative deal for them. But unfortunately, it's not a lucrative deal for them because they don't get that much money from it. So, as you're right, you have made steps and your business acumen is there. No one's trying to make it sound like you can't do business. Your business acumen is there. That doesn't mean the fact that they should be thanking their lucky stars. Yes, you have increased drastically the pay of the WNBA players, but also that's on them because people went from watching it a lot to then it going down in the early 2000s or mid to 2000s, and then slowly it's been going up and up and up, and then you have players like Sabrina, then you have players like Asia, you have players like Brianna Stewart, you have players like Napheesa Collier, you have players like now Angel Reese, Paige, Caitlin, Rakia Jackson. I could go literally on and on and on. Cameron Brink, about the young talent coming in, but you already still had all this old talent: Tina Charles, Maya Moore, Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Fowles, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. The list goes on and on. And all of these players who said, hey, we're going to take this thing and take it up. We're going to bring it up. And that's what happens in the league. Think about the NBA. So you go back to obviously the 50s, you build George Mikan and all that, then really the 60s when you think Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. There's so many other players you could name. They're on those 8 to 12 teams throughout the times when they were starting to expand. But it wasn't a hugely profitable league at that point because it was young, it was developing. We have to think the WNBA is about in their 80s stage, which is why I had always thought to myself, even years before they got to the W, Caitlin and Paige were going to be Magic and Bird. They were going to come in the same year into the WNBA, and they were going to just make things go the way that Bird and Magic did. It ended up being Angel and Caitlin in that 2024 class because Paige ended up going them. But now Paige is doing the same thing. She just, most points all time for a rookie in her first season. One of the best rookie seasons of all time. Just had it. So, she's going to do that. And then when Juju Watkins gets there, it's going to go up. Flage is going to go up. You got so many players coming in that are just going to continue to grow and grow this thing. So, yes, you got a cool deal. Great, Cathy. But let's not do all of that. Napheesa, a bomb. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now we have the worst leadership in the world. It's a bomb. I am shooting at you, Cathy. I am not private conversations have now gone public. Not that you said any, private conversations have gone public, and I said, yeah, we're going to put them public. And Cathy's response: my focus remains to ensuring a bright future for the players in the WNBA, including collaborating on how we continue to elevate the game. I am disheartened by Napheesa's characterize our conversations and league leadership, but even when our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and the work will never waver. I didn't hear in there that it didn't happen. I didn't hear that the comments of Caitlin weren't said. I am disheartened. So you're just a little upset. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Napheesa characterized our conversations and league leadership like that. It's unfortunate that that's how she said it. But I'm not saying I didn't say it. I'm not saying it wasn't said. I'm not going to try to fight back. Just, it's unfortunate that she said it like that. It's unfortunate that it got out, guys, but it happened. Really? That's what we're doing? Okay, that's fine. That's fine if that's that. And then Caitlin, she had also spoke. She said, I have a lot of respect for Fee, and I think she's made a lot of very valid points. This is straight up the most important moment in the league's history, and this is right. You have the league at its most popular. It's ready to pop. This lady is Exhibit A, and the reason one as to why, but there's so many other reasons why. You got multiple teams coming in. I mean, you've got two teams coming in. You had a team coming this year in the Golden State Valkyries. You got Toronto, and you got Portland coming in. You've got Detroit, Cleveland coming in as well. And then you're going to have I believe a Philly team, and then you're going to have the Connecticut team move the ball. You're just hitting all the major markets now. You're not hitting all the major markets, and people want to get into the WNBA. They want to get into the business while it's about to before it booms, because it's ready to boom. This year is the most important time. She also said that she had not heard the comments that Napheesa said. That was the first time she heard them, and Cathy hasn't reached out to her. So, shout out Cathy. But this lady right here, Napheesa Collier, the vice president of the WNBPA. She said what a lot of women wanted to say, the courage that she had to say it, and I'm glad that she did, because they're about to get into some brutal negotiations that's happened in every league. Every league had to deal with a lockout because there is the balance between the players and the organizations of the leagues. You have an NFL style thing where the team's always more important than the players. I'm sorry. Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal, and I understand he feels like the Chiefs, and you go for that, but the Chiefs are going to live on. The Patriots are going to live on without Brady, even though obviously the Patriots have gone up and down. Like, these teams, the Steelers brand, the Cowboys brand, like, all these teams have super great players, but it's a team-based thing. The NBA, you have super strong organizations, but you think player first. It's Steph, it's LeBron, it's Mike, it's Wade, it's so many of these other people, even though obviously the Heat, the Warriors, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Celtics, they all matter. Of course, the organization matters, but these players are what drives the NBA. And you're going to want a balance between the both here in the WNBA. I think there's common ground to be had. Getting there is going to be difficult. I mean, the league backs Asia spoke too, who backed Napheesa, but the league backs Napheesa. 10 out of 10, no notes. Angel Reese. Time is ticking. Fee speaks for me. Nanaka Agumake is also on the WNBPA. She is one of the, I think she's a president, actually. Then you've got De'Erica Hamby. Thank you for your bravery. You've got Sophie Cunningham, who has become a superstar in her own right. Obviously, defending Caitlin. People only know Cathy because of C. She's the most delusional leader our league has seen. Powerful. Just powerful. And I do think that while the WNBA is in such a great place, the next 6 months are going to be the most important negotiations we see, and we're gonna see a lockout. I do think we see a lockout. I don't know though. The difference between like the MLB, the NFL, like the league is shorter, so you have from October all the way until May to try to get this thing done. I mean, really more April because you need to get preseason in. But you've got like 6 months to get it done. So, it'll be interesting to see. And another key point, the last thing I'll talk about the future of the WNBA here, Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart wanting to spearhead Unrivaled, this absolutely had something to do with the fact of this coming. They knew, because they're business savvy women who are just intelligent women. They're like, wait, we know these negotiations from being involved in them. We're not close. One, let's give a league where the women have some power, where they can get paid as such, and we can prove to the WNBA that this is a possible business model. Two, we get more understanding of how it is to run a league, to get sponsors, to get money, to get the money generated, TV deals and all that. So now we have more ammunition to bring to the debate table. Three, we're going to players don't have to go overseas and go to Turkey and go to Greece and go to Russia and go to China and play and go to Europe and go to all these leagues overseas. They can stay home and still make their money. 4, you now are in a situation where if the WNBA, because obviously basketball is a lot of these women's now main source of income. Of course it should be, like they're professionally there. That's what they're doing. Okay, now we really don't have to go over and stay overseas. We have this opportunity. We can make money and we can grow our brand here in the States playing basketball still. So the way the Drew League, think of the 2011 lockout going into that season when they had 66 games. Think of the Drew League and how, you're like LeBron and KD and literally everybody who was anybody played in the Drew League. And it got popping and people were like, this is super fun. This is fun. Lockout basketball. This is great. You're going to get you may have the same thing that happens in the WNBA, and I think this could be really good, especially if you're able to get Caitlin, get Asia this year in Unrivaled. You already have people like Paige, obviously Napheesa, Brianna, Sabrina. You've got all the best WNBA players. You can get just the best of them, get them on that court. It's going to be nice. It's going to be really fun to see. So I'm excited to see the future of the WNBA and where it goes. Really want to shout out to Napheesa Collier for making those statements because they were well needed, they were well said, and Cathy's response was comical. because it just didn't. There was no denying. There was not even denying. There was no just like retort. It was essentially just, it's unfortunate that it happened, but it did. Wish it didn't get out. It was like you cheated, but you knew you cheated, and you're like, man, wish we didn't have to get that out, but I'm sorry about my actions. Sorry. What do you do to the person who cheats on you like that? Do you stay with them or do you break up with them? But anyways, another conversation for another day. Let's talk the WNBA Finals. We had a barn burner in the semis from both series. We got great games from the Phoenix Mercury, 2 massive comebacks in Game 2 and in Game 4. Game 4 without Napheesa, Game 2 with Napheesa being there in Minnesota. That was really the game that swung the entire series. If they win that game, obviously they're going to a Game 5, and maybe they're not even in that position. Napheesa could be healthy, and we could be seeing the Lynx here right now. But the Mercury did what they were supposed to do. They've been the underdogs all season, the team that's been kind of counted out. Injuries have plagued them throughout the season, and right now they're coming together for the first time, and they've got one of the deadliest big threes, and maybe the deadliest big three in all of women's basketball right now in Napheesa. Calm down, Keenan. Not Napheesa. They played against Napheesa. And Alyssa Thomas, Kalia Copper, and Satu Sabali. And then on the other side, we got the Aces, who went to overtime with an Indiana Fever team who lost Aaliyah Boston in the fourth quarter, who lost Kelsey Missile. Prayers up to her. She said that she's going to recover. It was some really odd thing where she lost feeling in her legs. So shout out to her for being okay now, because she is one of the most electric players in the WNBA, and she really showcased this year that, like, people who didn't know how good she was before Caitlin, the spotlight was put on the Fever, and she said, hey, I'm really one of them. Like, I'm top 5 all time in NCAA scoring for a reason. I can put the ball in the hoop at an elite level, and she showcased that throughout the entirety of the regular season and through the playoff run. So shout out to the Fever. They're going to be a demon of a team to have to deal with here in the future. But you've got the best player in the W, Asia, doing the best player in the W things. You've got Jackie Young, who is really one of the more clutch players. You've got Chelsea Gray, one of the more clutch players who just makes these plays again and again. And then the Aces bench, who has continued to grow throughout the season. And so you get a clash of some heavyweights here. You've got 2 massive big threes against each other in this WNBA Finals. And let's kind of break this down a little bit here, and I'll give my winner at the end. These are the playoff stats from A'ja Wilson and from Alyssa Thomas. Asia's giving you 26, 9, and 3, 48% from the floor, 50% from 3 on low temps, 74 from the line. A'ja Wilson's averaging 5+ stocks a game, which is just insanity. The way that she puts together these numbers, what she puts out on the floor, she's making the case to being the greatest women's basketball player of all time. She will go down as the greatest women's basketball player of all time. I'm sorry, Diana Taurasi. I am sorry, Maya Moore. I am sorry, insert person. She will be the greatest WNBA player of all time. If you don't want to say women's basketball player, you want to say maybe Brianna Stewart, 4 championships. She had the greatest collegiate career, will never be touched again, especially with the way that the leagues are. That's fine. If you want to say Brianna Stewart, your greatest women's basketball player in general, or you want to say one of those older ladies, fine. WNBA, it's going to be hard to say. Asia, no. You're gonna have she has the most MVP. She's probably gonna end with the most defensive player of the years. Gonna be tied with the most championships if she keeps winning, and she is still cooking and she is still going. And then on the other side, you get Alyssa Thomas, someone who has been a top 5 player for a long time, but gets a little overlooked because you have Asia, because you have Napheesa, because you have Brianna Stewart, because you have people like Sabrina Ionescu who are more popular. And then you get people like Caitlin who come in. But Miss Triple-Double herself, 18, 8, and 9 in the playoffs with 2 steals, shooting 47% from the floor. This is going to be a heavyweight matchup. They're both going to be guarding each other. That's going to be a fun matchup on both ends of the court. And then you get the secondary matchup between the second best players on these teams. Jackie Young, the way she's been producing in these playoffs have been just great. This year when the Aces are 9-4 in the playoff career. Sorry, I apologize. 9-4 in the playoffs when Jackie Young scores over 18 points. She's averaging over 20 right now. They don't lose much when she scores over 20. 5 rebounds and 5 assists to go along with it, and one of the better on-ball defenders in the league. This year, they were 14-4, winning 78% of their games when she scored over 18 or more. When she scored 17 or less, they were 16-10. So still 61.5%. But Jackie Young is really that X factor, the same way that Satou Sabally is for the Phoenix Mercury. This year, she shoots 34% for the playoffs. This year she's shooting. When she shoots over 34% from 3 in these playoffs, they're 5-0. When she shoots under, they're 0-2. During the year, when she shoots over 34% from 3, they're 12-4, winning 75% of their games. When she shoots under 34% from 3, they're 11-12. They're below 500 team. The outside shooting of Satou Sabally, how engaged she is in the game offensively, and the efficiency in which she plays with really drives this team. When she's efficient, because Alyssa Thomas is a constant, and then Kahleah Copper, the way that she's had to get back into the rhythm this year, she's starting to find her groove more and more. That's just a cherry on top, but really Satou Sabally takes this team from being a good team that can compete to a championship level team when she is healthy and she's playing well. And the same thing with Jackie Young. When Jackie Young is playing at the superstar level, borderline adjacent that she can play at, this team is close to unbeatable. They play phenomenal basketball, and they have throughout the playoff career of Jackie Young, 9-4 when she scores 18 or more throughout her playoff career. I wanted to bring this up here. A'ja Wilson, because I was talking about her being potentially the GOAT. 4-time MVP, 7-time All-Star. Like, this just, what she is here is she's just the epitome of hard work and excellence. She doesn't quit. She doesn't tire. She just continues to move forward. She also averages the most points in elimination games in WNBA history now. She is just, when it comes to greatness, A'ja just does it. Going through these teams, very similar. This is playoff stats. Very similar offensively. Defensively, Phoenix has been a little bit better. They shoot near the same. They rebound near the same. They assist near the same. The blocks are going to be a little skewed towards the Aces because of the fact that you have A'ja. But the steals are the same. They obviously both have 5 wins. The Aces lost 1 more game. These teams are really evenly matched. You've got the Aces going through Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, who is a big-time player. NaLyssa Smith has found her role and found her love for basketball again. It was wavering last year in Indiana. Then she goes to Dallas to start the season. Doesn't really work out there, and especially they're on a losing team. She finds her role. Dana Evans plays big guard minutes. Jewell Loyd has come in there, even though that she has really has star potential, hasn't found that total niche this year in the lineup starting, goes to the bench, has been more productive, is coming in, plays good defense, shoots in 3. She's become a 3-and-D perfect person on this team. The role is perfect. Megan Gustafson comes in, gives you solid bench minutes. Christian Bell comes in, gives you solid bench minutes. Then they have a couple other players as well there in case break glass in case of emergency. But really, that top 6 to 7, that's what they've got there, and they've got a real chance at winning it all because they have added depth throughout the season that matters. Dana Evans has come along more so as the season's gone on. NaLyssa Smith getting her. Jewell Loyd has found her role and found her time with the Aces. And then you've got Chelsea Gray fully back, even though she did tweak her ankle in Game 5 against the Fever. Jackie Young, second best player on the team, and A'ja the best player in the WNBA. And then on the other side, we've got Alyssa Thomas, Satou Sabally, Kahleah Copper, the big 3 that has been lethal throughout the playoffs and really was lethal towards the second half of the season. You got Sammy Whitcomb, who can shoot and is going to come in and shoot. The thing with this team is they have confidence in themselves and they showcase it. DeWanna Bonner, all-time veteran, all-timer, Hall of Famer, going to let that thing fly, been in every situation. You get Catherine Westbaum, Natasha Mack. You've got many players on this team this year who were not expected to do a lot. And the thing that was really interesting about this team is you had Collier Copper out early. Then Alyssa Thomas missed time early. So you had a lot of these rookies who came in, and they were like, and a lot of these young players who came in, and like, okay, we just get to kind of figure out how to play and what we're good at, what we're not good at. And then you find your niche. And then Satu Sabli missed a little bit of time. And then you got a little time with Alyssa Thomas. And then towards the second half of the season, you bring it all together. And they're starting to let this thing cook. And they're really starting to hit their stride right now in the playoffs. So first 7-game series we're ever going to have in the WNBA, and I am super excited for it. I do think this does go 7. I really do. I think we utilize all 7 games in the first ever 7-game series in the WNBA, and the Las Vegas Aces do take it in Game 7. They'll have that game in Vegas. That crowd will be rocking and knocking at home. Asia Wilson wins her second finals MVP, wins her third finals to solidify one of her best seasons and one of the more improbable seasons for the Aces, because they were a slightly below 500 team mid-July, end of July, and then they turned it on and they went on a baseball. This is October. It's October baseball time. They went on a baseball streak where you just have that team that's 500 towards the All-Star break, and then after the All-Star break, they cook, and then they just cook throughout the playoffs. You've got that team right now in the WNBA in the Las Vegas Aces. I do think they take it. That doesn't mean Phoenix can't win the series. They absolutely have the ability to. They feel like a team of destiny, but the Aces also feel like a team of destiny. They're clashing right now, and I think we're going to get a great 7-game series that we're going to be able to take in, enjoy, watch, and then it's going to be a hellaciously interesting offseason where we get to see who is going to budge, where's the money going to go, and how long are we going to be without the WNBA specifically, because we're going to get women's college basketball, and that's going to be a phenomenal year. Unfortunately, we don't have Juju. Obviously, don't have Paige or Caitlin, but there's still so many. Lauren Betts, UCLA, Flau'jae Johnson, LSU, Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd, UConn. There are so much out there. Great freshman class coming in there too. We'll see what happens, and then we're going to get Unrivaled, and we get to watch all of our favorites play in Unrivaled. So it's going to be a great time. Women's basketball is not going anywhere, regardless of if the WNBA does take a break. But this has been the Warner Brothas Podcast with Keenan Warner. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all of you guys. Really do. And we'll be seeing you guys again very soon.